Hello guys, it is DNA Evolved 115 and welcome back to part 2 of my discussion on the perk system. If you did not see part 1, the link is down in the description. Today, we are first going to be looking at different suggestions that have been made on how to make the perk system better. Most of these suggestions are referring to how to make Black Ops 4's system more bearable, or how to make Black Ops 3's system have more choice. And then towards the end, we're going to look at a system that I have devised that I think would work perfectly for COD 2020, Black Ops 5, whatever it's going to be called. But before we get into any of that, if you enjoy my content, please remember to comment, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be let known whenever I post a video. And without further ado, let's get into this. Most ideas for systems currently mess with a combination of two factors: perk slots and perma-perks. Perk slots just kind of goes with how many perks that you can hold at once. And then there have been some maps where you can go past that and you can have all the perks that are in the map. But when you first spawn in, the number of perks that you can actually buy is 4. These suggestions kind of suggest just increase in limit. The other one is perma-perks. Perma-perks were a thing in Black Ops 2. I'm not 100% sure why I totally forgot them when I was making my background video. And I think I even made a note on my piece of paper to make sure to include perma-perks, even if I don't go in depth on them, and I still totally forgot. Anyway, perma-perks are perk-like abilities that you get for doing something besides consuming a perk. An example of that is on Buried. You could gain the effects of PhD Flopper by taking fall damage, but just enough that you survive from it over and over. There's plenty of examples of perma-perks that you get for being bad at the game. For example, on Transit, I believe it was if you had so many games in a row that ended on round 1, that eventually you would be able to buy the ray gun off the wall right at the beginning of the game. And I thought that was kind of funny. However, they got more serious as time went on. In Buried, there's also one where for getting kills with a scoped weapon at a high accuracy, you would get an absolute shit ton of points. The first suggestion that I see a lot is simply just adding more perk slots to the old system, extending the number of perks that you could have from 4 to 5 or 6. This means that if you were to purchase the whole quad of OG perks, then you would still have 2 spots that you could fill with whatever you want. This system could totally work. And it would have been a great first step or a precursor, something that maybe Black Ops 4 could have done to get you ready for what my system that I think should be in Black Ops 5. My one critique is that 2 perk slots to play with isn't a ton of choice, and this also means that you have to have those perks in the map. It wouldn't be like the Black Ops 4 system where there's perks that you can choose from whatever. The other suggestion that I've commonly seen is kind of like giving us a Jug perma-perk. Now this perma-perk, I've seen 2 different variations of it. One, we would start with 2 hits of health, and then we would get a 1 hit extra per perk that we bought that was not our modifier perk on the Black Ops 4 system. I've also seen a variation where we start with 3 hits, and then for every 2 purchased perks, we did get Jug. This would have been better than what we had in Black Ops 4. However, it only addresses the progression issues with Jug, but there was other issues with the damage and the reload speed. With the reload speed, they kind of tried to stick it on as a perma-perk, because that's what basically modifiers are, is a perma-perk for that perk being in the last slot. But Speed Cola was added as a perma-perk for every single setup possible after you had all 4 of your perks, and it really did, it still broke that a little bit. It wasn't the full effect of what it was in the other games. And then also with damage, it was just too expensive in Black Ops 4, so it didn't address any of the other progression issues, just the issue with Jug. Before we get into my own system, I want to explain some things that I took into consideration that a lot of these people probably don't when they go to design their systems. First of all, I want to reinforce something that I've said in the past. Black Ops 4's system and the old system, neither one is objectively better. However, objectivity doesn't matter. How a perk system feels is a subjective experience. So in a way, you have to be objective about your fans' subjectivity. Now, I did a poll on Reddit recently, and a couple things that I will say about it is that I really wish that I would have had more people getting involved with it. I'm not exactly a big YouTuber with not even 20 subscribers yet, where I would have just done this poll to you guys and to Reddit to try to bolster as much as possible, but whatever. As a rando on Reddit, I got 308 votes, and that's not a huge sample size, but there's no reason why this sample size wouldn't be at least somewhat representative of the community. I did have people try to debate me on this when I was sharing this with other people, and I was basically looking at them like, look, there's several million copies of this game that have sold. There's no way I'm even going to be able to get 500,000 people to answer any one poll. So this is not 100% accurate, but I think it gives a general idea about where the community lies. On this poll, I split it up by each and every game because each and every game had a slightly different perk system. Even though World at War through Black Ops 3, it was basically the same, except, add a few perks here, add a few perks there. Black Ops 3 had the 1 extra hit of health, blah, blah, blah. In this poll, World at War had 8 votes. 8 people thought that World at War was enough. 24 for Black Ops 1, 69, nice, for Black Ops 2, 172 for Black Ops 3, and 35 for Black Ops 4. So, more people thought that Black Ops 2 was better than Black Ops 4. Now, the other thing that I want to take into consideration, though, almost counters this survey a little bit, but it doesn't really either. Another thing to keep in mind is something that not necessarily everyone will agree with, but that's almost the point. The game can't be an exact copy-paste. There needs to be at least some innovation. So I feel like the trick here is that you have to find a happy medium, a little balance between making sure that it is comfortable compared to the preferences of the community, but at the same time pushing it a little bit in a direction that opens up to more innovation. So that way people will be comfortable without the game feeling old. So I'll start by saying what most of you have probably been asking the entire video. Yes, in my system, Jug would be in the game as a normal perk. Health without Jug would be 3 hits, and Jug would give you an extra 2, meaning 5 hits overall, which is the same as the full health of our pool winner, Black Ops 3. This will be kind of where it is the most similar. Speed Cola will also be returning as a perk, as a kind of safety net of making it feel similar as possible. Outside of that, the other 4 perks would come from basically the same system that Black Ops 4 had, where you picked perks in an outside menu. On top of that, I would have a Wonder Fizz machine or Wonder Fizz type mechanic, if we're talking about the Chaos storyline, that will only roll perks that you don't have in your set already. However, you should encourage people choosing right the first time by making it a little bit expensive. However, I feel like the ability to choose inside the game is important, so that you don't have to restart your game if you decide to try out a completely new perk. Now, it might be expensive to do it at that point, but at least you don't have to completely restart your game. I also feel that as part of that in-game choice, that your modifier perk shouldn't be something that you pick outside of the game. It should be more whichever perk you buy last, so that way even the perk that you decide to pick up randomly can be your modifier perk. So it would be a little bit weird compared to the system that they have in Black Ops 4, because like each perk wouldn't have its own dedicated slot, but I still think it would work out just fine. Now, I'm sure you guys have said, but you haven't said anything about double tap yet. Well, I haven't. Because double tap is one of the few perks that I want to change. I do not like the way that Black Ops 4 did it. It was just too daggone expensive, pack-a-punching it 5 times no matter how much they cut the price. So I would suggest maybe it does need to be some sort of weapon upgrade, just because from a common sense standpoint, you drinking a soda should not make it so that way your gun acts differently, especially if you buy a new gun, it still works. And I know you guys are probably saying, well, you know, there's dragons and zombies, and we're dealing with, you know, alien gods that put 115 on the planet and stuff like that. And I get that, but at the same time, it would just make more sense to have it be a weapon attachment, and it would open up another perk slot. And I have a little bit of an obsession with even numbers, and so getting that out of there makes it so I can hold my even numbers. It bothers me when I'm on maps where there's 7 perks, because I have to have an uneven number of perks. I'm a weird little bit of OCD with that, but they could always take my system and do whatever the fuck they want with it. But that's just kind of my general idea. But I was kind of thinking with the double tap stuff, maybe make it so that way there's like a machine where you just get a weapon attachment, or it goes through like the pack-a-punch, just one charge of 1,500 for that gun, and maybe make it so that way there's like 2 different prices, so that way if you're doing it to like a starting room weapon, it's lower, but if you're doing it to anything after the starting room, maybe even just the first couple, it's more expensive. And I think that it would even be okay to put this machine in the spawn room, but make it so that way you have to turn on the power or activate the artifact or whatever, just so that way it will make it so that way there's more use to the spawn room, because I feel like in a lot of zombies maps, the spawn room is forgotten after you're done spawning, you know, because it's not supposed to be a main area, but just putting one little thing right there could help. I know a lot of maps nowadays have their quick revive in there, but under this system that I'm proposing, quick revive would be in the perk system just like Black Ops 4, because I'm sure you guys saw my text post from my last video that I actually like the way that quick revive was worked into Black Ops 4, where you just kind of got lives in solo, and then even in multiplayer you would get 1. So I kind of like the way it was worked, and I would leave it that way. So with this system, like I said, it's a little bit unique, but it's not super unique. Let me know what you guys think. I think that I came up with something that was pretty balanced. However, you know, I'm sure that one of you guys will think of a situation where it's not, or you guys will be like, oh, you're praising the Black Ops 4 about anything? Really? Well, guys, just tell me what you think honestly. because I've been thinking about this for like the last week, and I felt like it was a little bit lazy that I just kind of mixed the two systems for the most part. But at the same time, I feel like this kind of ends up with the best results possible. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think down in the comments. If you like the video, please do not forget to subscribe, like the video, or comment, and I will see you guys next time.